After a million adjustments, I found something that connects two parts of your body that medicine has never connected. It's something that explains why millions of people are doing everything their cardiologist tells them to do, and they're not getting better. Hey, by the end of this video, you're going to look at your heart health completely differently than you do right now. So stick with me, Dr. Aaron Ernst, because what I'm about to walk you through took me 22 years to fully understand, and your cardiologist has never mentioned it once to you. You've done all the right things. You've taken your medications. You've watched what you eat. You've gone to your appointments, but something still feels off, right? Your energy's not there. Your blood pressure moves around. You feel like you're managing something instead of actually fixing it. And every appointment ends the same way. Here's your prescription. See you in 3 months. Nobody is asking, how did you get there in the first place? So in 22 years of practice with over 1 million patient visits, I started to notice a pattern that patients couldn't explain, or nothing that I was taught in school could explain, until I looked at it deep enough. What I'm going to share with you today is the pattern that was finally revealed, and we figured it out. I'm going to walk you through the 5 things that completely changed how I understand cardiovascular disease, and why the conventional model is missing something critical, and what it means for every single one of you that's been told you have a heart condition, or you have a heart problem, or you have heart disease, because there's something controlling your heart that no one talks about. And it literally makes your heart pump. It makes your cholesterol work. It regulates your blood pressure, keeping it in range. When you take medication and you think you're reducing the risk, that's the lie. That's what every doctor's visit, every health article, every pharmaceutical commercial has been barking down your throats for 50 plus years. And honestly, the medical model isn't always wrong. Cholesterol does need to be looked at the right way. Blood pressure does matter in certain circumstances. Your cardiologist is not lying. They're not telling you what the real problem is. They're leaving it out because there is an entire control system that governs your heart. And conventional cardiologists never discuss this, the system that determines how fast your heart beats, how hard it works, how your blood vessels expand or contract, and how your body responds to stress. And that system is not inside of your heart at all. Your cardiologist is treating the organ, but no one's looking at what controls your heart. So here's the thing. If the control system is the problem, treating the organ alone is never going to fix it. You've probably been focusing on the wrong starting point, not because you were wrong, but because nobody told you there is something upstream from your heart, and that needs to be addressed first. Look, there is a master control system making your heart work every single second of every day. And until you understand what it is and whether it's working properly, you're only looking at half the picture. So here we go. What is a system that controls your heart? It's not in your heart. It's not in your blood. Your cardiologist has guaranteed never looked at it. And I'm going to show you exactly what it is in a moment. But first, I need to tell you something about how your body's actually built. Your heart receives instructions. It doesn't generate them. Most people think of the heart as like the boss. It's the thing that keeps you alive. It's the organ that everybody focuses on. It pumps all your blood around. You can't live without it. And that's always how it's been framed. And how most people think about their cardiovascular health is heart-centered. But remember, your heart is not the boss. Your heart is an employee. It receives instructions consistently every second, every hour from your brain. Those instructions travel down your spinal cord and out through a network of nerves that tells your heart how to beat, how to work, what the pressure should be, how the rhythm should be. Your heart does what it's told. But see, here's what everybody's missing. Are the instructions getting to your heart clearly or not? Your heart doesn't make decisions. It follows orders. So if the orders are wrong, no medications can fix that. The real question in cardiovascular health is not what's going on with the heart. It is whether the foundation that addresses everything that makes the heart work, is it working? And that foundation is your nervous system. Think about it this way. Imagine if you're the manager of a building, like an apartment complex, and the lights keep flickering. You could replace every light bulb. You could upgrade all the fixtures, but the problem might be in the electrical panel, and nothing you do outside is going to fix anything. The lights will keep flickering. Look, that's what happens when you go to a cardiologist and you treat your heart without ever looking at the control system. You're replacing valves, you're putting stents in, you're not looking at where the real issue is, the wiring. The very moment you start asking, is my control system working? Instead of saying, what's going on with my heart? You open up a brand new door that conventional cardiology is not walking through. Now, real quick, where is the control system? Where does it live in your body? And this answer is going to surprise you. It's going to make you think differently about everything you've ever been told about your heart before. If you identify this, your nervous system is being disrupted right now. If you've been tracking your heart, if you have high blood pressure, high cholesterol, or symptoms, what you've been told to track, those are just signals from your body, and it's sending those signals telling you your heart isn't the problem. They might seem unrelated, things you've chalked up to stress or age or just, this is how my body is. But when your nervous system is sending instructions to your heart and it's disrupted, those symptoms don't always show up as chest or heart or shortness of breath. They often show up in places completely unrelated to your doctor, and that's why they get missed. So look, let's find out right now if your control system is malfunctioning. Does your blood pressure fluctuate significantly? Sometimes high, sometimes normal, without an obvious trigger that you can point to? Do you have chronic tension or stiffness, like a history of upper back, neck? God, if I could just get that release, even if you don't connect that with your heart. Are you that kind of person? Do you experience fatigue, poor sleep, or brain fog, maybe digestive issues, acid reflux, and you also have a cardiovascular symptom? Has your doctor ever said these might be connected? Look, if you answered yes to just 2 or more of those, there is a real possibility your nervous system governing your heart is disrupted at a structural level, not because your heart is weak, but because the instructions that your brain is sending aren't being received. And in a minute, I'm going to tell you exactly where the interference is and what it means for your heart's health. Because look, what took me 22 years to understand, the location of the interference is what your doctors have missed. They'll never connect it to your heart. And once I show you where it is, you're going to say, why hasn't anybody ever done this before? So before I get into point 4, I want to say this. If you've been searching for a piece of this puzzle, how do I fix my heart health, and no one's given it to you yet, subscribe to this channel. Stay close to here. I cover root causes of cardiovascular and metabolic health issues every single week. Things your doctor isn't discussing. So hit subscribe, make that bell activate, and you won't miss anything. Okay, here we go. The secret, the location of the missing link. Your nervous system, which governs your heart, is in your spinal cord. It's your brain through your spinal cord. All those highways of signals, they send the message to your heart. The most critical section is right here, the upper part of your neck. The top 2 vertebrae, atlas and axis, they sit in a region right next to your brainstem. It's the origin point of what's called your autonomic nervous system. It controls your heart rate, your blood pressure, and the tension of your blood vessels. When the upper cervical vertebrae shift out of alignment, even the tiniest bit, their proper position gets lost. They interfere with that signal, just like static on a radio line. If your heart receives the wrong signal, its instructions are distorted, so your heart does work distortedly because the instructions are telling it to. So it compensates, it overworks, and eventually it struggles in a way that shows up as something diagnostic, a palpitation arrhythmia, PVC, an SVT. I had a patient come to me after years of taking blood pressure medication that never fully stabilized her numbers. She had been on multiple medications, multiple doses, multiple combinations. Nothing was working. When we evaluated her, we found her spine had significant subluxation misalignment in the upper cervical region. There was a history of a car accident 20 years ago. She never connected it to her heart health. We began a corrective structural chiropractic focused care, specifically on the upper cervical region. Now watch this. 6 weeks of care, blood pressure stabilized in a way it had never been on medications by herself. Why? Her brain's instructions finally got clearly to her heart. And watch this. Her cardiologist was like, that's a shock. It really isn't. It's what corrective chiropractic care addresses. And it is what I have seen cardiovascular changes in our practice that medications cannot produce. Not because chiropractic is the complete answer. I don't want you to think I'm saying chiropractic causes or corrects or resets cardiovascular issues. What I'm saying is, without addressing your nervous system, the other interventions, they don't reach their full potential. And this isn't just something I have observed in my clinic. Look, there's research published that shows regular chiropractic care reduces heart disease risks even more effectively than medications. Look up the University of Chicago's cardiac studies on chiropractic care. Your cardiologist has most certainly never read that study. So the question worth asking yourself right now is this: has anyone evaluated the structural integrity of your spine, how it affects the control systems of your heart? That single question could open a door that changes your entire treatment picture. So now listen, today, right now, I want to give you something practical, something you can do that is going to address this system and calm it down. You're going to be able to reset your nervous system with what I call the autonomic governing system. Because remember, your spine has two modes: a stress mode that speeds things up, tightens blood vessels, and a recovery mode that slows it down and lets your cardiovascular system reset by giving it rest. Most people with chronic heart issues are locked in stress mode. They can't shift out of it because their nervous pathways that are responsible for the shift, the vagus nerve that comes from your brainstem to your heart, is not being activated. So this protocol activates that pathway directly. Look, it does not replace structural chiropractic care, but it gives your nervous system its first real opportunity to shift into a mode that allows it to receive a recovery signal. Think of your nervous system like a car. If you've been driving that car in first gear for years, the engine is literally screaming. It's working as hard as it can, but it was never designed to stay in first gear indefinitely. So this protocol that I'm going to teach you, it lets you shift into second gear. It doesn't fix the transmission, it doesn't fix the car, but it gives your engine some relief, and it starts the process of turning your system to run the way it was built. So tonight, before you go to bed, find somewhere quiet, sit down, no phone, no TV, and give yourself 10 minutes. So watch this. Step 1, put your hand on your stomach. Breathe in through your nose for 4 seconds. Your stomach should rise before your chest rises. This is what's called belly breathing. It activates the vagus nerve, the direct line from your brain to your heart. Hold that breath for 2 seconds. So in for 4, hold for 2. Now breathe out through your mouth for 6 slow counts. The longer you exhale, if you go 7 or 8, it tells your nervous system, hey, it is safe to shift into the next gear. So if you do this for 10 cycles, about 5 to 6 minutes per day, watch as your body starts to relax. Check your chest, your neck, your tension. Then afterwards, sit down quietly for 2 minutes. No phones. Let the shift happen. Do this every night for 7 days and watch your blood pressure every morning as you get out of bed. A lot of our patients see measurable improvements within just 1 week. Again, not because you fixed the structural issues, but because for the first time in who knows however many years, you let your nervous system shift into second gear. So for the last 22 years, I've watched patients do everything right by conventional standards, and they still didn't get where they wanted to go. Not because they weren't trying, but because nobody ever said, hey, there's a nervous system that controls your heart. So here's the thing. Now you know it exists. Now you know where to start. And starting in the right place changes everything about how your heart works. So in the next video, you need to watch this. I have it linked here. It's why cholesterol is the least important number of your cardiovascular assessments. And it's going to talk about what you actually should test, the 4 tests you should get that measures your heart health, not cholesterol. Check it out.